Welcome to another episode of A Life Partner TV. I am your host, Mario Torres Leon, and I am so profoundly glad and grateful to have you here with me today for this topic that we have, which is actually rather special and tremendously counterintuitive, and is the aspect of X-ray vision for couples. Let me actually get into that a little bit because this is something that has come up quite a bit in the community and with some of the people in my, whether it's been the Wanted Mentorship, Wanted Men Mentorship program, or people in the community asking questions about this. And I have to actually go back into the movie world to talk a little bit about this, and particularly about Mel Gibson. Some years back, he made a movie called What Women Want. And I think it was a really profoundly insightful movie. Why? Because in the movie, something happens to him that he has this situation where he starts to hear voices. And as it turns out, the voices that he's hearing is actually the voices of women. Now, in the movie, you know, he is a perfectly straight guy who's a super womanizer. That's kind of like the role that he plays in the movie. But then, as this situation happens to him, and he starts to listen to people at his office, his coworkers, and so on. He starts to understand that he's had this gift that came down to him, this superpower to be able to listen to women and tune in into what is it that they're actually thinking, and almost like they're speaking to his ear, and he's listening the voices, right? And therefore the topic of what is it that they really want. And this is something that I talk quite a bit in the Life Partner community, especially to men and also to women, when it comes to starting to understand what is it that the partner wants, what is it that your man or your woman wants, and as it pertains to men, particularly, what is it that your spouse, your wife, maybe your girlfriend, what is it that they want? Because there's something that happens that is profound when we meet somebody as men. Let's say we meet another woman, and we're in that process of dating and so on. Everything is kind of, like one of my mentees calls it, rainbows and unicorns. And then as time goes on, something happens that we start to see this separation, this split in the path. And then as time continues to go on beyond that, you may actually wake up one day feeling as though you don't really understand why you're there, who's the person next to you, and so on. And not infrequently, people ask themselves as they're trying to get support and figure out a way to actually go back to the roots of that relationship and being able to rekindle, to reconnect, to feel wanted, cherished, loved, respected, desired again. Gosh, if I just knew what she wants, if I could just be inside of her and understand her, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't I be able to actually be that for her? And what I have discovered over more than 25 years of being in this journey of understanding and looking into these components of human relationships, not only as a physician, but also as a married man and somebody who's dated women in the past before I got married, was the aspect of what is it that is missing here? What is it that I need to do? Who do I need to be able to create that connection? And as I discovered those tools, I started to put that into practice, and in some cases in the past, very imperfectly. And over the course of time, started to really dial in more and more what that was all about. And one of the things that is really particular about my journey, and I have been able to have this conversation with so many men along the way, is that if you're a straight man or you're a woman, a straight woman who's married to a man or in a relationship with one or looking to be in a relationship with one, when it comes to the male component of understanding this element of communication and connection, there's really not a whole lot of information about what is it that we need to do. And you may actually come across people that are into the yoga space and maybe into the meditation space, or maybe into the couples therapy space and so on. And a lot of those people are not even coupled, they're not even paired, so they're not experiencing that relationship. And I don't say that as a means of criticism or simply devaluing what the work of those people may be. Clearly, there is a lot of really inspired, enlightened work that has brought tremendous amount of change and inspiration and awareness to many, many people. But I have to say, in my particular journey of almost 3 decades of having done a lot of that, and me having invested in going to a lot of those experiences and going to those courses and going to the retreats and having read the books, etc., DIY courses, do it yourself courses, I would actually come out feeling empty handed in a lot of them. And that prompted really taking a deeper dive into all of these things. And today, like I said in the beginning, the topic of our conversation here in this show today is X-ray vision for couples. You see, I'm a radiologist by education, and something that has happened in the world of medicine is that nobody, no one nowadays does any kind of intervention, medical intervention that is, unless you have some form of image guidance. What does that mean? You use different kind of things. It could be x-rays, it could be MRIs, it could be CAT scans, it could be ultrasound, it could be images that are generated by the application of nuclear medicine. So there's a lot of different things that we do in the world of medicine and in the world of radiology to be able to see through the skin, right? To be able to get into the body, to be able to discover what is it that is causing whatever that person is experiencing. And as I drew some parallels between my life as a radiologist, as a physician, and I thought about all the challenges that I personally have had and I have witnessed in people that I have been able to coach and be able to serve in different courses that I have been part of and created over the past 13 years, something became very evident to me. Is like, what if I had some tools that were very similar to the ones that I have used in the world of medicine as a radiologist to be able to go in there, be able to see what's missing, whether I am the one who's producing it, maybe it's a co-creation, or maybe it's something that is missing on the other side, that I could be a tremendous element of support and be able to be an agent of change for the better in that particular relationship. And that's where I started to really take a deeper dive into what are some of the things that I discovered along the way that I can do, that I know that they work, that I know that I have put them into work, not only my personal life, but also the people that I have worked with, and be able to start teaching them to people so that you can start experiencing those things. And I want to talk about a few things that can be done that are really essential. One of the most powerful things is the aspect of having a common language. And I can't emphasize enough how important this is. And when I talk about a common language, is the aspect of being able to dial in into what is it that you are feeling and what is it that your partner is feeling. The fact of the matter is, it may be very difficult to get to know exactly what's happening on the other side until you firstly start dialing in into what is it that is being felt on your side. You see, and this is one of the things that it's not intuitive, particularly to men. And this is something that I talk about in my Alive Partner course, because one of the biggest discoveries along the way is that the emotional language is not intuitive to most men. And even though women tend to be better than we are at gravitating towards speaking emotions and feelings, my discovery has also been that there's many women that they don't really know that language either. They really haven't mastered it. And there's this assumption that just because, women are women, that they will actually know how to do that better. And it's not necessarily true. But let's just stick on one lane right now for the aspect of the man. And this is a really important distinction and an important, invaluable tool, because as you start to develop a language with which you can communicate with your woman, that starts to open doors to be able to see her, in this case, revealing more and more as to what's happening on the other side. And to be quite honest with you, that is no different than you, let's say, having a tool that you can actually see through that person. Why is that? Because rather than having to hammer your way, chisel your way into the other person, your capability that you've been developing to have that language of emotions as it pertains to what you're feeling, it creates a tremendous golden key effect, as I like to call it in my community, where you insert that key, that golden key is turned, and then these doors, they just start to open in front of you, and they are incredibly revealing. And I will give you a very, very powerful tool that I teach my mentees and I teach people in my community when I talk about this form of language, which here in the Alive Partner community, I like to call it the compassionate communication. And compassionate communication really speaks to, first and foremost, tuning in with what is it that you're feeling, what is it that you're sensing that your body is allowing you to actually have awareness of, and then putting words to those sensations that you're having. And this is something that I teach men and women, and it creates immediate results the moment that we start to put into practice. Now, alongside with tuning in into what is it that is being felt, those feelings and emotions that you're having, we need something verbal that we can pretty much pair up with what's being felt so that you can actually say it and convey it to the other. Most people, if you listen to people when they're talking, they will say things like, I feel like, and then they fill in the blank with whatever the feeling and the emotion is. And this is really important to hone in and dial in into what I'm saying, because when we use such expression and we just fill in that blank, I feel like blank, typically what's actually coming for the other side, to the person you're talking to, is some form of a judgment or a demand. And I can guarantee you that 99.99999% of the times that is going to land very harshly. It's not going to be welcomed. It's not going to be liked. It's something that the other person simply is going to be turned off by. And this is equivalent to the opposite of having X-ray vision. You see, in the world of X-rays, if you shield whatever you're trying to look at with lead or something that is metallic, what ends up happening is that you basically, the X-rays cannot go through that, and essentially you cannot see what is it that is behind that. So that clearly creates a problem. So it is actually the opposite. On the other hand, when we use the expression, I feel blank, it actually puts you in a situation where you have to fill in the blank with that particular word. That is, what is it that is being felt? That is, what is it that is being experienced? That you're actually gifting and giving to the other person. And I want to, put a big asterisk next to this expression of I feel blank. It is so essential that when you're conveying what is it that is being felt by you, what's being felt inside of you, that you actually are very cautious to speak about what is it that you and only you are feeling. You see, the journey that you're in, independent of the fact that you're with somebody else in a relationship, it only pertains to you. And I can tell you that this is not something that is intuitive, particularly to men. And like I said earlier, to many women, it isn't either. So this is a very important key that starts to generate, believe it or not, this sense of X-ray vision so that you can communicate with your partner. Now that I've spoken about the aspect of this important key regarding the language, I can't stress enough the other aspect of this, which is, what are you currently doing in your relationship or independent of your relationship to tune in into what is it that you feel? And this is something that I talk quite a bit in the community, because believe it or not, as many different tools as I offer to be able to become an alive human being, an alive partner in the context of a relationship, I have found that there are very few things that can be as powerful as starting to dial in into what is it that you're feeling. And if this is something that is not intuitive to you, I have actually put a special audio meditation, which it's very simple, nothing complicated, it's nothing religious. And it's just basically for normal people who want to understand, oh, wow, I do have those feelings. Wow, I wasn't even aware that that was available to me. So you can actually start tuning into that and start to develop a sense of what those sensations are like. The more you practice that, which can only be done in 5 minutes, and I speak to that in that audio, which I encourage and invite you to click on the link below so you can actually have the recording. It's for free, and start reaping benefits immediately. You're going to realize that things that your body is already prepared to do are also there to serve you as it pertains to how you communicate and how you connect with your partner. And those two things combined, the way of being able to feel and tune into your feeling body, And also combining that with the power of the language that you're using to convey what is it that is being felt is truly as though you were tapping into this X-ray vision for couples. And I'll add an extra bonus to this, which is super powerful. It goes way beyond your relationships, right? Because if you have, let's say, your family members nearby, if you're a parent and you have children, these tools are incredibly invaluable for any human relationship that you have. Every single time that we have the privilege of interacting with other people, no matter what's being discussed, no matter what the interactions are about, there's always sensations. There's always feelings and emotions that are being generated. Let's say that you're just walking down the street and suddenly you see a friend that you had not seen in, decades, right? And if you were really, really close to one another, you see that person and there's going to be so much that is going to come into your awareness, right? You're going to be so excited to see this person. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so many years. It's so great to see you. Stories may start to pop up and you just go through this whole conversation and you probably felt like you were in a roller coaster of emotions and hopefully great emotions. The same thing may happen on a different kind of flavor. Let's say, you have a child and something happened at the house and you're not very happy with that. And you have to face the music and dance with your child and talk about it. Well, that's going to generate a very different sense of emotions within you. But the common element to whatever the circumstance may be, it's always going to be the fact that you are the common denominator in that interaction as it pertains to your experience, right? You may talk to 10 different people, but whatever you're sensing, whatever you're feeling is unique to you. So this is one of the things that it really translates into so many other different areas of your life. And it is a tremendous gift when you can actually develop this superpower of X-ray vision that goes beyond just what can be gained for couples. If this has been resonating with you, I'd like to invite you to just like this and subscribe and share it. One of the things that I continue to learn on a daily basis is how many people just reach out and say, wow, I did not even know that this existed. I did not know that this topic was actually so close to my heart. I wasn't even aware that what you're talking about was me, and I've been struggling with this. And the more that we can actually speak to these things, the more that we can actually start changing and evolving when it comes to our relationships, how we treat one another, how is it that we're feeling in the relationships. And instead of having this diverging path that we see so often, then we start to actually change the course of the path and be able to come together again for the better. I am Dr. Mario Torres Leon. It's been a great pleasure to be with you here today at Alive Partner TV. And I can't wait to see you next Wednesday here on YouTube Live at 1:30 Mountain Standard Time. And I also go live on Fridays on Instagram. So if you didn't catch me today, just make sure that you catch me on the other side. And I love to see where you're coming from, tuning in, and send your questions, because as we're having these conversations, we can talk about them, answer them, and create a sense of community. And if you're new to all of this material too, you can actually find us on Facebook as well, where we have our growing community of people in the Alive Partner community. So hopefully this has actually resonated with you and created a very different sense of like, a new ahas for you that you can put into practice today. Until next time, continue on your journey, start feeling, continue feeling, click on the link below, get your awakening feeling body meditation so you can actually tune in and start benefiting from this absolutely for free. And I can't wait to see you next time. See ya.